In Matthew's book, Jesus said, go into all the land, take the word, share it, teach it, preach to every man. Just do it.
Hello, this is Dr. Gregg Mays with your Word Wednesday. Several years ago, at the beginning of Word Wednesdays, I talked about something I called getting back to the basics. And what I meant by that was we need to remember what God has called us to. So as we open our Bibles to the book of Matthew, we will find ourselves in chapter 22 and right down around verse 37. And what Jesus is talking about is someone has walked up to him and asked him, what is the greatest commandment? Now we need to understand the purpose of that question. The purpose of that question and the purpose of most questions asked to Jesus Christ by Pharisees and teachers of the law, they were not there to learn. They were trying to trick Jesus. See if they could get him to say something that would go contradictory against the word. Remember, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And then we read a little bit further in John that the Word manifested itself in the flesh, and that was Jesus Christ. So what they were trying to do in a real sense was to get Jesus Christ to contradict his very self, which, let's face it, that's not going to happen. So down in verse 37, when they asked him, what is the greatest commandment? This is Jesus' response. I'm at Matthew 22, verse 37, and I'll read through verse 40. Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. He says, this is the first and greatest commandment. Then he says, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. And then watch this tag he puts on it. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. In other words, if you love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and you love your neighbor as yourself, you cannot help but keep all of the commandments. Because in order to keep all of the commandments, you must love in that way, right? And so I said this in a sermon one time. Check this out. I pray that this blesses you. When you love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength, when you love when you love God with all you have, watch this. All your love that you have goes up to God. All of it. So that leaves you with no love, right? Because you just gave it all to God. Love the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. So you can have nothing left if you've given it all. Watch this. So then he says, the second one is to love your neighbor as yourself. Well, if you gave all your love to God, what do you have to love your neighbor with? Watch this. God will never let you be an empty vessel of love. So when you pass all of your love to him, he turns around and puts his love in you, and that's the love that you use to love your neighbor as yourself. So get that picture. I send all my conditional love up to God, because let's face it, on my own, my love is going to be conditional. You do to me, I'm going to do it right back to you. If you give me something, I'm going to give it right back to you. You help me, I'm going to help you. You don't help me, I'm not going to help you. That's the kind of love that we have. Let's face it. We have conditional love. That is not the type of love that God has. Go check out 1 Corinthians chapter 13, starting at verse 4 and go on down to verse 8. And it outlines love. And that's the love that God will put in you, right? That's the love that you will love your neighbor as yourself with. So you send up your conditional love to God. He replaces it with his love. As you get in your word, as you surround yourself with mature Christians, then he's able to do for you everything that he needs you to do, right? He'll do it through you. He will do it even though he wants you to be the person that kind of gets the earthly credit. This is getting back to the basics. The basics of Jesus Christ is love God, love his people. Now, how he has you doing that, that's going to be different from person to person. We just have to understand that. But that he has us doing that, that's a non-negotiable. I'm encouraging you to get back to the basics. Love God, love his people, and then watch what he will do in and through your life. I pray that this is a blessing for you. And remember, stay strong.
So what you waiting for? Someone to feel the pain some more? Cause you ain't share the love, the grace you found within the Father's care. To share the love of God is more than just a simple job. It's Christ speaking the off a Holy Spirit law. Share it.